Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Take Two. And for those of you who are new, Take Two is a reference to filmmaking. When you're shooting a scene, you take multiple takes to get the right one and move on to the next. And it's really rare to get that one take on the first go. So here in Take Two, we take a second look at movies that were released not too long ago in theaters that are now available on digital download and Blu-ray. And who knows, after you watch this review, you might want to watch it again, or if you have never seen it, it's probably recommended that you do, or that you don't. Now, today's movie, of course, is a Tulip Fever. Now, before I go on, a little bit of a disclosure here. I'm a huge sucker for period pieces, and Alicia Vikander also happens to be my favorite actress right now in Hollywood, in my top 5, #1, currently. Unfortunately, a great actor does not maketh a good film. Unfortunately, this film falls in between a authentic period piece about love and passion with a movie that you might have watched in the past, like Heath Ledger's Casanova, which was lighthearted and yes, very cheesy, but still entertaining nonetheless. And we don't want to fault the cast in this film, because if you look at the cast, you cannot go wrong with Alicia Vikander, Christoph Waltz, Dane DeHaan, and the Dame Judi Dench, and amongst others. But it's more about the weak script. With an hour and 45-minute runtime, the pace of the film really doesn't gel well with a period piece that takes place in 17th century Amsterdam during the Tulip Wars. This is a film that feels like it was made for a streaming platform like Netflix or Amazon or Hulu. And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of those streaming platforms. I love it, I'm addicted to them. But it's one of those films that you just simply pass your time with. And let's face it, whether it's on Netflix or other streaming platforms, we've seen plenty of mediocre films or movies that we just play in the background when we're doing our chores around the house. And this was exactly that. And a perfect example of this would be Dane DeHaan's chemistry with Alicia Vikander. It's just unbelievable. I don't mean that in a good way. It's bad. Like, you don't believe it. It's not convincing enough. Now, apart from that odd pairing, the overall film wasn't as executed as I would like it. And again, for a history nut like me, that's a bit disappointing. Here is a film that just fell short from being a proper adaptation of a novel. Although I do appreciate the authenticity of this film, we're talking about set design, the costume, the overall aesthetics of Amsterdam in the 1600s. I just wish there was more of the Dutch culture involved in this film so we can properly soak in the entire environment. And the characters could have been more gripping, more in-depth, so far that we can actually care about them. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Now, I was able to actually tolerate the film, as mentioned before, because I am a history nut and I love period pieces. But for the average movie-going audience, I'm sorry guys, I want you to steer away from this. You'll probably fall asleep. Or if you don't fall asleep, you'll just be baffled by how this movie came to be. But then again, there are a lot of you out there who are, look, this is not something I would actually recommend to any of y'all. But if you're a history nut like me and you're just curious or you just want to pass the time, Tulip Fever, unfortunately, is one of those movies. And it's so disappointing because I'm a huge Alicia Vikander fan. And alongside her with a great cast, this was a waste of a great cast. And then you got the poor execution of the entire film. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed my second take on Tulip Fever. If you haven't seen it in theaters and you just want to pass the time and watch it, if you've already seen it, don't watch it again. It hasn't gotten worse, hasn't gotten better, but it's just And you guys know the drill. Please like, share, and subscribe as usual. And the next one I'll be covering is another Take Two review. That'll be up pretty soon. Well, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy yourselves at the movies this weekend, or every weekend, or every day, or watch movies at home. Be like me. Be a complete cinephile and watch movies all day. No, I don't do that all day. I have a day job, But when I do get to watch movies, that's all I do. See you next time here on Moody Vintage TV on Take Two, and of course on my usual movie reviews here on this channel. See you next time. I still don't have a closer. You guys help me out here. Jesus. I don't know how to say goodbye to y'all. I don't want to say goodbye to y'all.